When people in a community talk about plans to solve a problem, people from different backgrounds can each make unique contributions. Sometimes this creates a majority for a certain plan that some people are not happy with. That is why it is good to not only consider your own interests when discussing plans, but also to think about what the introduction of a plan means for others. A relaxed conversation can help us improve a plan. Any ideas on how we can make these conversations more productive? Now comes the exciting part. We believe we have a tool to support these conversations: computer simulation. Imagine it as a kind of microscope through which we can look at the complicated world of how people interact and influence each other. With such a simulation, we can investigate how people with different interests share opinions and untangle complicated situations. Pay attention, because now we show how such a simulation works and what we can learn from it together. We're simulating a community. Right? Now imagine that each person is a little robot. These robots, just like people, can have different preferences and interests, and their own opinions. Now we can put a bunch of those robots together and have them talk to each other in the simulation. They are just like a bunch of neighbors who discuss each other's ideas and opinions and can influence each other. Let's get to know these robots a little better. The first robot has a blue face. That means he belongs to the blue group. This could, for example, be a group that is usually in favor of innovation. This robot is also big, which tells us that it is very outspoken and will tell the others about its preferences. This robot also wears a green hat, which means he supports for the ongoing discussed plan. And do you notice the big smile on his face? That shows he is happy with the plan. The second robot has a pink face and therefore belongs to the pink group. For example, this could be a group that usually prefers everything to remain as it is. This robot is also much smaller, indicating it is more silent and often avoids discussions. And you see he's wearing a red hat, which means he's against the plan. And that sad face? Yes, that shows that he is not happy with the situation. Moreover, robots may also be indifferent without expressing unhappiness or happiness towards the plan. People in a community are always chatting with each other, often supporting friends in their opinions, but sometimes people also clash with each other. You know how it is. Opinions can change. When discussing plans in a community, it's nice if everyone participates and makes themselves heard, right? We can recreate this in our simulation by having the different groups talk to each other. Consider the example of the blue robots, who are usually in favor of innovation, and the pink robots, who usually prefer things to remain as they are. But you know, some groups are more outspoken and others more silent. We can also simulate that with our robots. Some groups, composed of bigger robots, are quite talkative and like to speak up, while others are smaller and a bit quieter. Of course, plans come in different shapes and sizes, which is why today we focus on a specific plan. And of course it is important to know that a plan can be adjusted, and such adjustments can be discussed again later. To see in our simulation whether robots are unhappy or happy with a plan, we can look at 3 things. First of all, what does the plan mean for your own daily life? Secondly, do you agree with the purpose of the plan for the community as a whole? And third, do you think your friends and neighbors agree with you? And now it gets really interesting. In the simulated community, we see groups of robots. These robots can be more up or down, and more to the left or right. The more they agree with the plan, the more they are on the right. And the happier they are, the more they rise to the top. A robot that is positioned at the top right is very much in favor of the plan and happy. A robot standing at the bottom left is unhappy and against the plan. This way we get a nice overview of which robots are for or against a plan and how happy they are. Now let's look at what can happen to our community of robots in different situations. In the first situation, we see 2 groups, both of which are in favor of change. We see that one group is more vocal and the other is a bit quieter. When they talk for a while, we see that they support the plan and almost everyone is happy. That is a great outcome. In the second situation, we see that one group is more in favor of the plan and is also more vocal. The group of robots that are against the plan are less vocal. The simulation shows that in this situation, the groups become very divided. We even see that the connecting lines between the 2 groups are decreasing. This means that solidarity in the community decreases, an outcome that we would rather not see. In the third situation, a majority of the robots are ultimately in favor of the plan, but we still see a reasonable group of robots that are unhappy. These robots have decided to support the plan because others do too, but they are actually not very happy with it. This is an outcome that we would rather not see. We prefer to see, just like in the real world, that a plan has as much support as possible and that it makes as many robots as possible happy. Well, this was just a quick explanation of how simulations can help us understand what can happen in a community when plans are discussed. This simulation not only shows what can happen when we talk about plans, but also helps us to think about the real plans we discuss. Is everyone happy with the plan? Could it be that the people who are unhappy with the plan are not making themselves heard? Or do they say they support the plan when they think it's not that great? In any case, it's good to listen to people who may have different opinions, especially if they usually don't speak up. Because ultimately we have to help each other in a changing society.